Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, folks. It's Ghost here, once again, with a special edition of True Conservative Radio. Once again, I'm the host, the man they call Ghost here, and I thank you for tuning in with me. Once again, this is a special edition of True Conservative Radio. It is Super Tuesday, folks. Super Tuesday. It's exactly what we're living in right now. And I know that I said on this past Saturday's broadcast that I was probably going to have a late night edition of the analysis of what's going to happen here on Super Tuesday, but I decided just to go ahead and do a daytime show. I've never done a daytime show before. I'm usually on, like all you folks know, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time is when I'm usually on, and I wanted to apologize to all the folks that expected to hear a show on Sunday afternoon. Once again, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not broadcasting on Sunday evening, but if you were participating in the kind of social holiday, so to speak, the Super Bowl, if you saw it, I'm sure most people saw it. It was most watched Super Bowl in Super Bowl history, for that matter. It was the second watched program of all time, if I'm not mistaken. It was a great event. I don't want to go over that. It's not a sports show, but you could probably imagine I was participating in a whole bunch of festivities, barbecue, family, all the good times, so I just did not have enough time to come up on Sunday and to do a show here on BTR, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the folks that tuned in. I got a couple of emails for it, and I'm sorry. That won't happen again. You got to forgive me. Super Bowl Sunday, we were all partying up, having a good family time. And you know what Ghost is about? It's about saving the American family. And as a matter of fact, that is going to be the focal point of this afternoon's show, because everybody's making a hoopla about who's going to be the social liberal that runs for president on both sides of the political persuasion. And to be perfectly honest with you, I could give two rats' asses. And the only reason I could give two rats' asses is because, first of all, you've got these long-haired liberals on the left. These people that are carbon copies of Hugo Chavez and whatnot. I mean, you're either going to go that direction, or you're going to go to the direction of what's now being considered the right of the American political persuasion. It's nothing but a bunch of social liberals, folks. And news straight off the hot wire here, Mike Huckleberry, that's right, Mike Huckleberry Finn has won West Virginia under some unscrupulous circumstances. I'm not too sure if you folks have been keeping up with it, but let me tell you what happened here. West Virginia, hands down, it's a caucus state. And apparently Mike Huckabee has won the caucus. They've given Mike Huckabee the delegates. And the reason they've given Mike Huckleberry Finn the delegates is because, like I've stated, if you've been listening to my show, folks, I've stated this over and over again. Mike Huckabee is not a social conservative. He is a tool being utilized by the social liberals that have hijacked the Republican Party. He's being used as a tool. I mean, just listen to the obnoxious garbage that is coming out of his hole. Just listen to the amount of garbage coming out of that mind's pie hole. He's sitting here talking about changing the U.S. Constitution into something that looks like the Bible. I mean, he's made all kinds of ridiculous assertions and ridiculous statements, and he's being utilized by the social liberals that have hijacked the Republican Party to make the true conservatives of America look like a bunch of idiots. And let me tell you something. I think Mike Huckabee's doing a good job of it, because you're a piece of trash, Huckabee. Anyway, let me get back to the story here in West Virginia, what happened here in this caucus this afternoon. Apparently, what happened, and I've said this before, folks, Mike Huckabee, even though he's supposed to be the social conservative, the token social conservative, who is he endorsing? I mean, you heard it at the debates. You've heard it in interviews. Mike Huckabee is endorsing the most liberal Republican candidate out there, John McCain. Now, why is that? Why would a supposed social conservative endorse a man who's basically done more to divide the Republican Party than anyone else in history. Why is that? Because I've told you, Mike Huckleberry Finn, this piece of trash, is a social liberal. He's only trying to utilize all this social conservative garbage, you know, this rhetoric that he keeps popping out of his hole, just so he can get those social conservatives that are looking for that conservative that they can put their faith into. These poor people in West Virginia didn't have a choice. You know what happened? This Mormon, Romney, which I'm not endorsing either, this idiot Romney was supposed to have the election, or the caucus, excuse me, he was supposed to have it down in West Virginia. What happened, there was some sort of collusion, and you had McCain and Huckabee basically working out some sort of a side deal, and McCain didn't even show up and told all his supporters to caucus for Huckabee just so Romney wouldn't get the delegates. I mean, that's what happened, folks, and this is what I'm talking about here. I mean, this is the left. The liberalism has infected the Republican Party. And that's why it's Super Tuesday. I'm in Texas, so there's no primaries going on over here, but I suggest to everybody who's a true social conservative just to stay home. Just stay home and take care of your families. Social liberalism is going to infect the White House. We just have to live with it. That's all there is to it. You know, the Republicans are a bunch of social liberals. They don't care about abortion anymore. They don't care about that women are having 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers. As a matter of fact, they're giving them money for it. This is what we're going to have to accept. More bureaucracy, more government entitlement social programs. This is what we're going to see. And it's sad. It's sad and it's unfortunate, folks. It's really unfortunate. And what's unfortunate about the Republican Party, and I thought, you know, there's one thing that Barack Hussein Obama said that I agree with. The Republican Party was the party of ideas. They were the party of ideas for the past 15 or 20 years. I mean, just look at the accomplishments. I mean, won't anyone out there, especially if you're a liberal, long-hair, bedwetting hippie, it's Super Tuesday, folks, especially if you're a long-hair hippie, give me a call right now and give me one piece of liberal-based legislation that has done anything for the American person. Why don't you tell me that? Don't give me some entitlement program which just basically has made people want more and more of it. Give me something that has significantly done something for America that has been liberal-based. And you know what? You're not going to have anybody call in and say anything because they know that they ain't got garbage. All they run on is rhetoric. Anyway, I'm sitting here, folks. It's a special afternoon edition of True Conservative Radio. I was over there listening in. It's Super Tuesday, folks. And I was listening to all these little stupid blogs, or whatever you want to call them out here. I call mine an episode, a broadcast. Some of these people call their radio shows or podcast blogs or voice blogs, whatever they are, all right? I was listening to them. People of the right of the political persuasion, because I could care less what happens to the left. I've already stipulated that Hillary Rotten Clinton is going to win this hands down because the Clintons have systematically turned Barack Obama into the ghetto candidate and basically rearranged his demographic base that got him there. Remember, folks, Barack Obama's original base was white liberal males. Once South Carolina came along, when more than 50% of the electorate was black, what happened? The Clintons injected the racial issue into the campaign and completely rearranged Obama's demographic base and turned him into the ghetto candidate. So I could care less what happens to the left. All right? I could care less, but I'm patronizing all these shows, and I read a couple of blogs. I don't really like reading blogs. It's a bunch of pompous jagoffs. And I know, I'm sorry, folks, I've submitted to the blogosphere garbage, too. I write a few blogs now and then, but the only reason I'm doing it is because it's obviously a proven, effective method of propaganda. Because it was the blogosphere that single-handedly changed the mind of most of these Republicans from going the true conservative Republican social value system to the social liberal Republican Party that you see today. That's what you see. So it's unreal what's happening here. I mean, and you know, there's a couple of people that are seeing it. There's a couple of people. I've come across a couple of hosts. I mean, we may disagree or agree on certain issues, but they are acknowledging what's happening here, folks. Conservatism is no longer the root of the Republican Party anymore. I mean, we can just forget about it. I mean, the Republican Party has shown the conservative movement that we don't want you anymore. We don't care. I mean, what did they do? They suppressed and subjugated two of the most conservative presidential nominees on the ticket, Fred Thompson, Duncan Hunter, and yet they would allow Ron Paul, they will allow all these other liberal-based candidates, all the media FaceTime and the Republican platform to say their ideology. It's unreal. It's unreal. And I don't get it. I don't get why, and you know what it comes down to, and this is what I'm telling you, that liberalism is dangerous, folks. It's dangerous. It'll infect your mind without you even knowing it. Seriously. I mean, what was Marxism? Marxism was just a damn couple of books. It ended up almost taking over the whole damn world. Liberalism spawns from this communist ideology, folks. And liberalism is a dangerous thought process, in my view. And it's infected the Republican Party. I mean, every time I try to facilitate a debate with those on the right of the political spectrum, whenever I tell them, wait a minute, okay, yeah, great, you're a Republican, but what's a Republican nowadays? What is a Republican? You got John McCain, it's a carbon copy with anybody that's on the left. I mean, look at all the bills that he's passed. McCain-Feingold being one of the most liberal Democrats on the other side of the aisle. You got McCain-Kennedy. Are you kidding me? Ted Kennedy? McCain-Lieberman. Don't you Nimrods know that Lieberman was the idiot that ran with as a vice presidential candidate with Al Gore in 2000? Wake up, Republicans! What are you doing? You know what they're doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're doing exactly what the liberals do on the Democrat side. Because like I stated, the liberals, social liberals, have infected the Republican Party so they can emulate the Democratic Party so we can have a somewhat either socialist or communist states, a communist United States. It's what we're going to see. Everybody thinks I'm off my rocker when I say that. I'm not off my rocker. I mean, these people that are just throwing the conservative principles out the window. Throwing conservative principles out the window and just saying, look, I'm going to have to vote for McCain because he's most electable. Most electable? Who the hell told you he was most electable? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? These people are going against their own principles, which goes against political thought, folks. They're going against their own principles just so that their party can win. I don't want the Republican Party to win on social liberal principles. Are you kidding me? What's in it for the social conservatives, folks? The American family is getting destroyed. And let me tell you, that's the only reason why I come and do a show. Every time I come up on here and do a show, I don't care. Like most of these Nimrods out here are trying to get advertising, trying to make a living off this crap. I don't care about making a living off this crap. I just want people to understand that there's true conservatives that are still alive in America. They're what's keeping the American family together, folks. True conservatives, hard-working people. People that work 10, 15 hours a day, get their nails dirty, support their families. put food on the table. That's why I was saying yesterday, excuse me, on Sunday, I couldn't come up on here and do a show because I was with my family. Just like everybody else was with their family. And that's the way it should be. Not broken families, which has become the social norm in our society. Broken homes has become the social norm. And you see, none of the Republicans are talking about this anymore, folks. It seems like they're embracing this activity. The American family is almost extinct. I mean, just look at all the other, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I know people that are in here. They're probably saying, oh, you know, you say this all the time, Ghost. You say this all the time. It needs to be said all the time. Because nobody else is talking about it. I've been around, folks. I've been all over the internet. I even go to these stupid, ridiculous voice chat communities, which is basically a digital social congregation of nothing but a bunch of perverts and deviants, if you want my opinion. I even go in there in their little political section to see if anybody has any substance out here. Nobody has any substance anymore. This is what I'm saying. Liberalism has infected everybody's mind. And if you're a liberal, I beg you, get on the phone, grow yourself a pair, and give me a call and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. But you're not going to get them to call. You want to know why? Because they know I'm telling the truth. And true conservatives out there, I'm talking real conservatives, not these fake Republicans, not these fake wannabe conservatives out here that are putting on the conservative Republican label and going against the very foundation of what the conservative movement is all about. I mean, you notice that the conservative value system is on the back burner? It's ridiculous. I just got finished listening to this ridiculous moron that is supposed to be the big political philosopher or something on BTR, and that's exactly where I'm broadcasting from, the Blog Talk Radio Network. This idiot Ed Morrissey. It's Super Tuesday. I decided to go on a show because, I guess he's what's mainstream on the internet. I don't know what intellectual society anointed this idiot as the supposed mouthpiece of conservative Republicans, but I listened to him. I wanted to hear what this social liberal had to say about what's going on here on Super Tuesday. And he didn't say a damn thing about it. He had some idiot from the UN on. The United Nations. That's what he had. Are you kidding me? It's Super Tuesday, you moron! And you got some idiot talking about mosquito nets in Africa. You got people, he's talking about we need to, go do more humanitarian work around the globe. Why don't we do some humanitarian work right here in America? How about that? How about we cut the funding that we give to this international institutionalist piece of garbage, the United Nations, which does absolutely nothing to stabilize this world? That was the whole purpose of the damn institution, was to somehow perpetuate peace. It didn't do that. So why don't we cut the funding that we give to this United Nations crap, and why don't we start working about what's wrong with American people? And the reason I take offense to this, and let me tell you, I acknowledge, folks, I'm not one of these ridiculous conservatives out here, and believe me, there's a lot of real extreme conservatives that are borderline racist, that are, borderline, off the wall, off the charts, that sort of thing. Let me tell you something, I'm not talking about them. I'll acknowledge the fact that we're a cultural melting pot, folks. African American folks, Hispanic, Latino folks, white folks, everybody. But let me tell you something. All these people that have been coming in here illegally, all right? All the people that have been coming in here illegally, 20 million illegal aliens, I don't care where you're from, all right? I don't care if you're from Arabia with a turban on your head, or I don't care if you're an English tea-drinking idiot. I don't care if you're a German sauerkraut Haagen dog, whatever it is. I don't care where you're from. If you're in America illegally, get the hell out of the country. Because all the people that were here, African American people, Hispanic Latino people, Asian people, white people that were here before America was a superpower, the people that actually went out and fought the wars to make us a superpower, you people that are in here illegally and that are being used as a tool by the liberals out here by putting a humanitarian spin on it, you people are ruining the American dream for people that spilled blood for this country. For people that did something for this country, that built this country. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on a rant on immigration, but this is the conservative principles, folks, and like I stated previous, the Republican Party has been just completely taken over by social liberals. And that's why I'm bringing all this stuff up. I know that this is an episode dedicated to the American family. And let me tell you something, folks. We need to save the American family. And as I'm looking here in the chat room, I've got a few people in here. How you doing? We got Ozone, has a pretty good show on BTR. Great conservative American right there. How you doing, Ozone? Got a couple other folks. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for tuning in with me. This is kind of an impromptu show. I was supposed to do a show on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, but like I stated, I was having a great time with my family. And that's exactly what everybody should be doing more of, having a good time with their family. But you know what? It's kind of hard to do when you've got the social ill of women shitting out about 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers out here being the social norm. Being the social norm. I want to save the American family, folks. That's all I'm here for. You know, all these other idiots and all these podcast blogs, all these nimrods, they're out here trying to get paid for this. I don't want to get paid. I don't want to get paid for this. I just want people to listen, man. That's all I care about. Just listen. And if you hate me, well, tell me why you hate me and provide some political substance, some philosophical substance, something that can combat me. Instead of personal attacking me, throwing logical fallacies, slanderous lies about me, you're not going to do that. And if you appreciate my commentary, I thank you, folks. All I'm asking is for you to perpetuate it, man. Go out there and talk to your kids about conservative values. That it's not okay to go out and hop on anything that looks good in a leather jacket, or tell a young man that it's not okay to impregnate women and just leave them. This is what we need to do. It's unfortunate. And you got a public education system, which I think we need to abolish, and everybody who's kept up with my show knows that we need to abolish all of public education. Privatize it. We need to just do away with all of it, because what it's been doing is because the public education system, it's all been infiltrated with liberals and feminists. And why? You know, everybody always asks me, well, you say that, Ghost, but why would liberals and feminists be dominating the public education system? Because it's a government-funded entity, you moron. They're being paid by the state. This is what these liberals, this is what these feminists want. They want government to give you everything. A house, a car, a job, a wife, a dog, a goldfish. They want it all. And they want it given to them. This entitlement generation. That's why the liberals and feminists have infiltrated the public education system. That's why. They're just living their communist dream. Being paid by the state. And you see, being paid by the state, there's no incentive to make sure that these kids are actually getting educated. I mean, if you talk to any of these pathetic teachers, and let me tell you something, I'm sick and tired of everybody who keeps pulling on the heartstrings of America as if teachers got it so hard. It's ridiculous. If they had it so hard, why do you have just an influx of education majors in colleges if it's so hard? Because it's not hard. Do you know what an education major is? You take a bunch of classes on how to figure out how to handle a classroom and grade a grade book. Nothing that has to do with any kind of history. Nothing that has to do with any kind of emphasis in math, emphasis in science. All you got to do is get a damn education degree and you're a teacher. You're a damn teacher. A Nimrod can get an education degree, folks, and if you're an education major, and if you feel disrespected, you know what I'm talking about, because that's why you feel disrespected. You know it was easy classes. You know all you had to do was just show up and go to sleep and wake up when the teacher said it was time to go. You just came in and get a little true-false test, and you got yourself a damn degree. This is what's teaching our children, folks. And these people aren't teaching anything with any kind of substance. They're not teaching them anything, man. I mean, if they are, why don't you go talk to a high school student right now and ask them a little bit about history? I dare you. If you happen to know somebody who's in high school, unless he's like what these people like to call the nerd, and I think that's ridiculous. I don't think anybody should be criticized to trying to fulfill their intellectual potential. But just, I mean, ask people that are the average, everyday high schooler and ask them a simple question about history. Won't you ask them, hey, what did the United States do in World War II? And these idiots will say that, you know, the United States fought on the side of the Nazis against the communists. You can look that up, by the way, Google. I always say that story because I read it and I was absolutely sick. And like I stated previous, I'm not saying that all high schoolers are like this. As a matter of fact, I have ran across more people, because I'm an employer, folks. That's why I don't want to do this. I don't care about doing this for money. I mean, great, hey, if some advertisers, which I doubt because of my supposed radical conservative views, but if some advertisers want to put some advertising, that's great. I'm not out here being, a soulless cash whore like most of these people out here that are doing broadcast blogs and all this crap that think that their word is holier than thou. I'm just saying, folks, we gotta reevaluate our thinking as social conservatives. You know, and what is social conservatism? It's just a value system, folks. It's just a value system. I mean, we just want to save the American family. You know that it's hard for a young man now, and this goes back to what I was talking to previous. I employ a lot of folks. You know, I have a lot of different ventures. I delegate a lot of responsibility. And, you know, I usually hire people that either dropped out or got kicked out of high school because these people actually want to work. Yeah. These people actually have more common sense, believe it or not. Everybody that I ever or unless they're college grads, and even then you got to take them with a grain of salt, because college grads, in my view, whenever you talk to a college grad, because, college education has become so assembly line, nobody's really getting a college education. Really. Nobody really is. It's a multiple choice test, folks. I'd like for you to name me a few professors that take essays for tests or something that spawns critical thinking. You're not going to do it, and that's why I'm critical by college education. But every time I hire somebody who graduated from high school, these people, it looks like they're wearing the dunce cap right in front of my face. And, I'm not a hard ass, I'm not one of these people that want to make you sweat because I've got power. That's ridiculous. I hate that garbage. I just ask simple questions, man. And if you can't come back at me with some simple conversation or with some confidence or something, then I tell you to get the hell out of here. And, the people that, either dropped out or got kicked out or for some reason just didn't get a high school diploma, I trust them more than I trust the high school graduates nowadays. And that's a damn shame to say. It's a damn shame. But you see, the people that didn't graduate, they understand that they got to work. Because the people that either dropped out or got kicked out, if they haven't gone to jail and been imprisoned, they're out there working. That's what they're doing. They're out there working because they want to be independent. They don't want to be a part of this communist crap. And I admire anybody who wants to go out and work for what they want. That's what the American dream was all about. Going out, getting your nails dirty, doing what you had to do to make your dreams come true. And I respect everybody. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. If it's an honest living, you are just as important as anybody up in the supposed elitist statuses. Don't let this ridiculous garbage that, oh, well, you know, I got a lot of money, so you got to listen to me. Don't let that crap fool you. I mean, granted, when it comes to a company, when it comes to a job, you've got to fulfill your job, and you've got to obey the hierarchy, but don't ever let anybody tell you that they're better than you because they've got money. Money's nothing, folks. Money is nothing. When you're at your deathbed, that money isn't going to do you a damn bit of good. When you're out there getting carjacked and somebody shoots you in the head for your car, that money ain't going to do you a damn bit of good. On the contrary, it kind of helped your demise. You got to worry about not who you can be, but what you are. And what you are is a human being that deserves respect. But you see, you can't get respect if you have no respect for yourself. You see, that's what these liberals want. They don't want you to have any respect for yourself. They want you to believe that, hey, you need government to give you this because you don't have the intestinal fortitude or the motivation to go out and do it for yourself. That's what these liberals want you to believe. That you're a sheep. That you're some idiot that has to be led around by the nose. That's liberalism. I mean, don't emphasize on how much money you can make because the money will be there. If you've got something else motivating you like your family, and this goes back to the American family, folks. That's the main topic. I know I'm going off on tirades here, but it's Super Tuesday. There's a lot of people right now placing votes for the wrong reasons. And that's why I'm a little upset. The American family, folks, is what we all have to work for. Perpetuating family values to generations is what we have to work for. That was the American family. It was the American family that created America. It was the American family that created America. It was the American family that made people believe, back before any of us were over here, that, hey, let me get on a boat with no navigation system that's made out of wood. There's no, we don't know if we're going to hit a hurricane along the way. We don't know if we're going to drown. There's no radios, nothing. Let's just go. We have nothing to our name. We have nothing. The only thing I've got is my family. And I'm taking my family with me. Me and my family, we're going across the pond into the new world. And that's what they did. That's what kept them together, folks. The family. And then when they got here, what happened? They prospered. They prospered. That's what I'm saying, folks. I mean, all I want is emphasis on the American family. It's ridiculous. It's frustrating. You know, there's a lot of people that email me that are conservatives. And they say, you know what, Ghost, I feel your anger, man. Because I am angry. Believe me, America's going down a path of I don't know what. But it's not good for humanity. Let's put it that way. It's not going to be good for the average American person. Let's put it that way. We're going down a path where government is going to be able to control every move we make. Why do you think that both of these parties have basically submitted to the fact that we have to have more bureaucracy? that we have to have more government in our faces. Why do you think that? This is Liberalism 101, folks. Liberalism 101. Anyway, folks, if you've been tuning in, I've just been on a tirade. This is a special edition of True Conservative Radio. I usually am on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time. But today is Super Tuesday, and there's a lot of people, millions of people right now, casting votes for the wrong reasons. You've got these Republicans basically turning, just like these liberal sheep that follow the Democrats, you got a bunch of Republicans turning a blind eye to their own principles just so they can vote for a liberal that they think is more electable. It's ridiculous. It's the biggest logical fallacy of all time. And I figured, well, let's just go ahead and do a show on the American family. That's right. You can give me a call right now. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. If you're a conservative, by all means, I'd love to hear another conservative voice. If you're a liberal, well, come on down. You know, bring them on. Bring all these liberals on. From the Republicans and the Democrat side, all you liberals, come on. You see, that's why these Republicans, at first, when I first started doing this show, and just started being, semi-critical on the candidates, which was very early in the whole primary garbage, before the caucuses and that sort of thing. And a lot of these Republicans out here, they were like, hey, yeah, they liked my show, thought I was a great guy, all this garbage. But then when I started being critical about how the Republicans have been hijacked by social liberals, I've got Republicans now resorting to the same methods of agitation as those left-wing, long-haired, liberal, bedwetting hippies on the left. They're using the same methods of agitation. And you want to know why? Because the Republican Party has been hijacked by social liberals. They don't care. You notice that most of these candidates on the right now, they don't really give a damn about Roe v. Wade. They don't care. They're trying to skate through that issue. They don't care that you got females out here, and like I've stated previous, are out here shitting out about 5 or 6, 7 kids from 7 different fathers. And they're not even talking about that. This has become the social norm. And every time I talk about it, these Republicans are saying, hey, Ghost, you're a traitor, and they're calling me all kinds of names. Instead of debating the issues like the Republicans used to do, they're calling a real conservative like myself some sort of a traitor. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, folks, if you'd like to get to the chat room here, it's blogtalkradio, all one word, .com/ghost, G-H-O-S-T. Come on in here, chime in with what you got to say. I know that there's a lot of people that have my broadcast feed on their websites, and I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. We're getting great numbers, folks. I mean, really great numbers, and most of the folks that tune in are conservatives. And I thank you for that, because let me tell you, I have a lot of left-wing, long-haired liberal hippies. They like to call in and, resort to the methods of agitation that they're used to. And I'm used to that, but it's been a real heartbreaker. A real heartbreaker that the Republicans are doing, and I'm a lifelong Republican, that the Republicans are doing the same damn thing that the left does to me. All because I'm not staying loyal to the party. Loyal to a party that has embraced social liberalism. It's ridiculous. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous to me that nobody's even talking about this crap. And let me tell you, this blogosphere crap, it's probably one of the biggest, history will look at the blogosphere as one of the biggest propaganda machines next to books back in the 1800s. and in the turn of the 20th century. You know, these books were the ones that, you know, inspired communism, Nazism. They inspired this crap. And this blogosphere has inspired, well, not really inspired anything, it's manipulated Republican folks into believing that it's okay to just turn their back on conservative principles. That's what it's done. This blogosphere here, I mean, it's probably one of the biggest propaganda machines I've ever seen in my life. It has turned staunch Republicans into accepting the fact that it's okay, you know, just to go ahead and isolate the conservative movement, which was the root of the Republican Party, mind you. This blogosphere has convinced a whole bunch of, I mean, and these people aren't stupid. You know, these Republican folks that are out here making all kinds of slanderous remarks at me, personal attacks, logical fallacies, these are Republicans. These are intelligent people. But they've been so bamboozled through the blogosphere and all these nimrods that are out here that are supposedly influencing everybody. They've been bamboozled into accepting the fact that we're just going to have liberalism, and that's all there is to it. Liberalism. That's all there is to it. I mean, you know, I'd like for somebody to give me a call and tell me I'm wrong, but you're not going to hear that. All you're going to hear is that I'm a nut job. You know, that's the biggest one I hear all the time. Oh, you're a nut job. I'm a nut job for wanting to save the American family? I'm a nut job. How you doing, Preacher Politics? And if you'd like to get to the chat room, folks, blogtalkradio.com/ghost. You know, I mean, look, all I want to do is save the American family, you know, and I'm dedicating this show to trying to save it. That's all I want. I mean, is that wrong? Is that, you know, my better half, my wife, you know, she usually hears me from afar whenever I do these programs. And she suggested to me that, because, you know, she reads my hate mail, you know, she thinks it's a real funny thing what I'm doing out here, because all I'm doing is just talking about principles that used to be traditional, and now they're the minority. Well, my wife suggested that, I mean, I've become a conservative radical. A conservative radical? I mean, I kind of was taken back when she suggested that. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, is that what I am now, a radical? I used to talk against radicals, these communists and these socialists and all these other ridiculous ideologies that are failed social concepts. But I'm a radical because I want to save the American family. I'm a radical. I just want to save the American family. That's all I want to do. I'm not trying to legislate what you do in your bedroom. Okay, if you want to participate in deviant activity, do it in the privacy of your own home. That's great. You can do it all you want. But don't put it on TV. Don't put it on these mediums that are influencing our children out here. I mean, you can't even watch the Super Bowl anymore without seeing cleavage and erectile dysfunction pills and I mean all this garbage. I got a granddaughter who watches Britney Spears' sister in a show that I can't say anymore because I was recently emailed by representatives of that particular show saying that I better stop talking about it. But you know what I'm talking about. Britney Spears' sister has a show on a major network for children. And what happened? She got pregnant. 16 years old, gets pregnant by some 25-year-old, or I don't know how old the guy is. I know he was 20-something. Or 19, or some garbage. It was statutory rape. Let's just put it that way, all right? And, you know, this was plastered all over the media. And, you know, I like to watch the media. I don't watch it for any type of substance, that's for sure. Let me tell you something. In this day and age of the Internet, if you're looking at television for your news gathering and information, you are intellectually lazy. You need to get out there on the most greatest information tool that's right in everybody's homes, and that's the internet. That's the internet. You can get any kind of information you want at your fingertips. You can read what you want. You can do what you want. But anyway, back to this Britney Spears' sister garbage. She was plastered all over the TV. Oh, Britney Spears' little sister, posting her little clips of her little show all over the place. Oh, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. And I mean, are you kidding me? My granddaughter was around. I had to explain to her why her hero is pregnant. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is what I have to do in this new liberal society that I'm living in? It's ridiculous, man. Nobody's mad about this crap. That's what's sick about it. No, Republicans aren't talking about it. You got these left-wing nut jobs that want to promote this crap. Nobody is as mad as I am out here. I don't understand. What's going on? Wake up! Can't continue on like this, man. Take a look at our social landscape today and compare it to all the big empires that ruled in history, and compare it to their social landscape when they fell. Look at the social landscape of Rome right before it fell. Looks a lot like what we're seeing here nowadays. Take a look at the Greeks. And take a look at their social landscape before they fell. Looks a lot like what you see here today. It looks a lot like what you see here today. And nobody's talking about it. I mean, none of these Republicans are talking about it. All they're talking about is, hey, look at me, I'm more conservative. No, I'm more conservative. Well, they're not even talking about the conservative principles. They're bypassing the abortion issue. They're bypassing the family issue. They don't even want to talk about how the American family is becoming extinct. And liberalism is embracing it. It's embracing this activity. Can't embrace this anymore. Can't embrace it anymore. That's why I'm on here. Look, there's a lot of people on the internet that take themselves way too seriously. You got these supposed blogger sacred cows out here. They put up a blog. They get 100,000 people that hit it up maybe every couple of months or something, and they think that they're God. They think that their word means something. When they're nothing but propaganda artists. That's all they are, propaganda artists. I'm telling you the straight truth. I'm telling you the straight truth. We just got to, hey, Santon, we need to get back to conservative principles. That's the problem. The conservative principles. And people ask, well, what are the conservative principles, Ghost? What are the conservative principles? And we got, okay, I'm talking to people here in the chat room. I'm talking to people in here in the chat room, and I've got Xanton, who's a radical liberal in the classical liberal sense, suggesting that I'm a radical, which my wife suggested to me, which, she was saying that to be facetious, but she was saying that in relation to the fact that no one else is saying what I'm saying, and believe it or not, what I'm saying is just something that was traditional principle when I was growing up. I've been with the same woman for so long. I mean, every time I tell them, every time I tell folks how long I've been with my wife, people are like, "Oh my God, like it's a bad thing." It's a great thing. It's a great thing that I've got somebody here that was down with me. Sickness and in health. Turbulent times. I mean, none of us got selfish. None of us fell victim to our inflammation of the senses. And we've raised great children. We've got great grandchildren. It's great. It's a great life. Because no matter what these political, power-hungry autocrats, no matter what they do to me, no matter what they do to the American people, no matter what they do to us, I'll always have my family, and they could kill me tomorrow, and I know for a fact that I've lived my life to the fullest because I didn't sacrifice nothing. I didn't sacrifice my kids' attention. I didn't sacrifice my family's attention. I didn't sacrifice any of that. I took advantage of it, embraced it, made the greatest memories possible. That's what I did. That's what I did. And these people here, these social liberals that have hijacked the Republican Party, they could care less. I mean, they could give two rats' asses. They could really give two rats' asses. And you see, I got people in here saying that conservatism is a joke and all this other nonsense. It's just a social value system. And let me read to you. I wrote conservative principles so I can just start naming them off. And let me tell you something, folks. If you believe in what I'm about to say to you, then you are a social conservative. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a social value system. Conservatives believe that there is a God, there is a creator, regardless of your religious beliefs. Conservatives believe that marriage is the most sacred of all traditions between a man and a woman, and such liberal concepts such as divorce, adultery, and open sexual perversion cannot and should not be tolerated as the social norm of any society. Conservatives believe that the family is the foundation of every society and that broken families are a social ill that should not be accepted as a social norm. Conservatives believe that all men should pledge an unconditional oath to their families and their country. Conservatives believe that females should be respected and loved based on their character and loyalty, not based on their sexuality or social exploitation of their own gender. Conservatives believe that abortion is the purest form of murder and should not be tolerated, period. Conservatives believe that females and males who have multiple children from multiple different partners is a social ill and should not be tolerated as the social norm. Conservatives believe that children should be raised in a two-parent home and should be shielded from predators and propaganda that will corrupt their developing minds. The youth is our precious resource for perpetuating conservative values, and they should be commended and embraced whenever they faithfully follow this value system. I mean, I can go on and on, folks. I can go on and on. I mean, this is what conservatism is. I mean, is that so wrong? I mean, just following traditional principles? And like I stated, it was the American family that kept this country together. The American family. I mean, it's the American family that keeps this machinery of America going. And the more and more we lose American families, the more and more this machine is breaking the hell down. Don't you people see it? I mean, we need to perpetuate the American family. And all these liberals, both on the left and now the right, because let me tell you, the Republicans have been hijacked by social liberals, and anybody who disagrees with me, everybody who disagrees with me, you can give me a call right now. And as a matter of fact, I think we got a call. Let's see who it is.
Hello.
347, you're on the air.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
How you doing?
This is Smokey over here from the Bronx.
How you doing? Hey, did you go vote today?
No, I don't vote. I don't believe in that stuff.
Well, I don't blame you for not voting this time, sir. Go ahead.
I don't go to jury duty. I don't do none of that stuff. The first year I was eligible to vote was the year the whole fiasco happened with Bush down there in Florida. Put a bad taste in my mouth. I'll never do that again.
Oh yeah, what you didn't like Bush?
No, it's not even that. It's just the whole fiasco, the way that it was rigged. That shit was rigged, buddy.
Well, regardless, I'm glad that George W. Bush was president, because I've said this before. Had Al Gore been president, we'd probably all have pictures of Osama bin Laden over our fireplaces right now.
You're crazy, buddy. Bush is like the devil, but I'm not even into politics because I don't vote. You know what I'm saying, buddy? But what I think you need to do is smoke a joint, relax, take a deep breath, and then kill yourself.
Oh yeah, and that's your substance? That's out of the Bronx, New York, right?
Yes, sir. Good old.
Yep, good old Bronx, New York. Liberalism at its finest right there. You see what I'm saying? I bet you money that this Nimrod is collecting Social Security. He's probably claiming he's got some sort of mental handicap, and it's obvious by what he stated here on the air here. He's obviously got a mental deficiency. He's probably using all kinds of government subsidies to give to some drug dealer so he can continue consuming his drugs like some ridiculous fiend. And let me tell you something, this is a perfect example of what liberalism will get you right here. This idiot Smokey. I bet you he believes in all this dumbass hip-hop crap, I bet you he's got the garb that this liberal media has forced him into believing that is some sort of culture. This ridiculous garb. No, look, I like rap. Believe it or not, I like rap. I like the old school stuff. The old school stuff, but 50 Cent, and here comes, these people are probably younger people, they're bringing up 50 Cent like he's the great OG. But this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is liberal media asserting a notion of social, I guess of social emulation on your children. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This 50 Cent character, okay? 50 Cent is a product. He's not even a real gangster, okay? This Curtis Jackson character was just some goof, that happened to probably live, in the suburbs of New York or around New York somewhere. Never, ever was involved in anything, not that that's a good thing, but he was never involved in any of the criminal activity that he claims. He's never involved in all this garbage. He's a complete product, and this is sold to your children as some sort of real credible outcry of the streets. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And as a matter of fact, 50 Cent was a real little tag name of one of these New York crime figures in Brooklyn. So, he basically hijacked the name of some criminal that happened to get killed. So it's just ridiculous. So this is what I'm talking about, this Smokey idiot. This is what's happening to your youth, folks. I'm sure he comes from a broken home, okay? I'm sure he's been raised by his mammy. That's why he's so, the man's probably about 25-something years old, and he's still talking about smoking joints. Give me a break. He's probably he's probably a fat-in-the-ass bastard. He's probably collecting all these, every kind of social program you can think of, and yet he's spending all that money on smoking dope. It's ridiculous. And you see, he is a product of what's happening here. This is a social ill. What you just heard, that previous caller, is a social ill of society. He was probably raised in a single-parent home. That's a product of a single-parent home. He was obviously not African-American, and yet he was trying to sound African-American. And why is that? Because you got this liberal media, this liberal Hollywood media selling products like 50 Cent and all these other fake gangsters that are being sold as real OGs, so to speak. They're selling this to your children, and your children are creating, the ghetto lifestyle in suburban America. And you want to know why it is? Because, the people that are influencing your children, if you're a two-parent home, the people that are influencing your children are from single-parent families. Typically raised by their mother, because the mother usually gets the kids most of the time in a divorce anyway. The woman could be a prostitute and still get the kids, which is ridiculous. But this is what's influencing your children. That's why I emphasize we have to save the American family, or we're going to get more products like this. This is what we need, folks, and that's why, everybody on the blogosphere, everybody on BTR, hey, Super Tuesday, yeah, give me a break. You're going to get liberalism regardless. All right, you vote for the left, you're going to get blatant communism. If you vote for the right, you're going to get petty bourgeoisie socialism. That's what you're going to get. That's exactly what you're going to get. It's ridiculous. And here I got this ridiculous wannabe hip-hop character over here, Smokey, calling me up again. Look, you've already expressed your ignorance, son. All right, it's obvious. There's no need to call back. So just, continue smoking your little pot and get the heck out of here, man. You're obnoxious. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm going to kick you out of my damn chat room because you're a piece of trash. So, see ya, Smokey. Let me get this piece of crap out of here. All right. Sorry about that, folks. I just had to get rid of some riffraff. Called up in here, told me to smoke some weed, and hey, yo, what's up, and all this garbage. I mean, the man sounded whiter than, Bill Clinton's ass cheeks. And he's going to come up on here acting as if he's just straight out of Compton or something. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely stupid. I mean, this is ridiculous. Look, I encourage youth to give me a call right now. But you're not going to get the youth to call. You want to know why? Because they're idiots. And why are they idiots? Because of the public education system. Because of the broken homes that are prevalent in America. That's why. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. That's what I'm saying, folks. These Republicans they're going against their conservative principles just so that they can nominate the most electable candidate. I mean, the people that run the Republican Party now are social liberals. They give a forum to Ron Paul and kind of suppress and exclude Duncan Hunter, Fred Thompson. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. And all these Republicans that are loyal to the party, so to speak, they'll call up or they'll say, hey, Ghost, you know what? You need to be loyal to the party. You need to be loyal to the party. I'm a lifelong Republican, folks. But I am not going to stay loyal to a party that doesn't want to acknowledge social conservatism anymore. They try to point out that, hey, you got Mike Huckabee. He's a social conservative. And like I stated previous, Mike Huckabee is a tool being utilized by the social liberals that have hijacked the Republican Party. He's being utilized to discredit the social conservative movement. I mean, just listen to the garbage Huckabee is coming out of this pie hole. Just listen to it. Hey, we need to change the Constitution to something that looks like the Bible. Hey, we need to put the Confederate flag in Washington, D.C. Hey. Huckabee's making social conservatives look like a bunch of idiots. But you see, that's what the social liberals of the Republican Party want. That's what they want. It's a shame, really. It really is a shame. I just don't understand why no one else is talking about this. Everyone's talking about, McCain, Romney. Talk about the issues, man. Wake up. Wake up. Anyway, folks, let me go ahead and give you the number. The number here is 646-652-4869. We need to save the American family, folks. We need to save the American family. And I've got Philly, who's a listener in here, and I thank you for listening once again there, Philly. He said we can't legislate morality. Well, I'm not legislating morality. I'm not legislating morality. As a matter of fact, this liberal regime that we're living under here, this liberal-based garbage that's been around, all this liberal bureaucratic social entitlement systems that have been around since that closet communist FDR came into power. We've been living with this. We've been paying taxes to give people money that don't do jack. And do they make better of themselves? No. And yet, you know what they're doing also with our money? They're encouraging this activity of having single-parent families. They're encouraging it, folks. You know that a female that, has 5 kids, 6 kids, from 5 or 6 different fathers, this little tax refund season, they're going to get $1,500 a kid. $1,500 to $2,000 a kid. Yeah. And that's your money, folks. That's your money. And you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. I'd like for you to look it up. Just take a look at what the American family's getting. Huh? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It is crazy, Philly. That's what I'm saying. Hey, I'm not trying to legislate morality. I'm just saying that we have a system that is embracing this activity. They want us to be deviants. It looks like they want us to, be like Sodom and Gomorrah. They want us to be a bunch of Nimrodic buffooneries. That's why they have a public education system that's dumbing down generation after generation. Anyway, 646-652-4869. I got another caller here. Hopefully this caller can provide a little bit of civil discourse instead of that ridiculous kid that called up previous talking about smoking pot and, thinking he's straight out of Compton or something. So, anyway, 917, you're on the air.
Yeah, what's up? This is straight out of Compton again. What's up, buddy? This is the white black guy, as you put it.
Oh, okay. So what do you want?
I wanted to know. First of all, I gave you a show. You should be happy. I made everybody in that chat room was liking what I was saying. They were laughing.
You said 2 sentence fragments, you moron.
Okay,
what are you talking about?
I have 2 parents. They're both still alive. They're both beautiful people. They took care of me as a kid. They were great. I don't live off Social Security or none of that stuff. No handicap. I work for a living off the books. I don't.
Yeah, you make a living off the books, so you're a drug dealer.
No, I'm not a drug dealer, to tell you the truth. I make pizza. I don't know if you know what that is. I'm a hard-working American. I'm 28 years old. I'm not a little kid like you said. I just want to know, what are you doing? Like, you're kicking me out of a chat room. This is supposed to be America and all this stuff.
But you're acting like... Look,
you're acting like Hitler on this thing, buddy.
No. Look, you see, you're trying to provide discourse.
What color is your sheet you're wearing?
Hey, let me go ahead and mute you, son. First of all, because you were sitting up here up until recently talking to me like a man, that's why I let you talk. But when you called previous, you were acting like some Nimrodic buffoonery, like you were straight out of Compton talking about you need to smoke weed and do all this garbage. I'm not going to let you perpetuate that message on my show. I have conservatives that listen to me, you idiot. So I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'm going to take you off mute, and I want you to go ahead and tell me something that's going to surprise me. You say you're 20 years old, you deliver pizzas for a living. That's great. I'm glad. I mean, because before I thought you were cleaning enema bags for a living. But I'm glad to hear that you're actually doing something with yourself, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the forum. Go ahead.
What do you do besides just banter on the radio?
I employ people, sir. I'm an entrepreneur. I got my nails dirty and worked hard for what I got. All right, and that's what I'm suggesting that everybody out there that's getting these entitlement programs from the government need to do too. Just need to go out and work.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I agree with you on that.
Well, then why are you telling me to kill myself?
Oh, because you're very uptight, sir. You need to smoke a joint, relax, have a beer, and you act like you're going to change the world, sir. You're not. You're not going to do any of this. Your name is Ghost. Like, what are you?
It's called a screen name, you idiot. We've been using them ever since AOL started commercially distributing internet connections.
Old. How old are you? Like 40 years old, and you're yelling at me. You're so angry. What's your problem?
Hey, because it's a political show, and I take politics a little serious. You just like to smoke joints, and as long as that government subsidy check comes in every week, you're happy.
No, I don't have a government subsidy check because the weed man don't take that stuff. He takes cash.
Weed man, that's great. Get the hell off my line, you ridiculous, Nimrodic imbecile. Give me a break. I told you to stop making references to drug use, and here you are, you're sticking a Kentucky Fried Chicken grease thumb up your anal passage, doing it again. Piece of trash, but this is what I'm talking about. This is a 20-year-old right here, 20 years old. And did you hear the absolute inarticulate way he's putting points across here? I'm not saying you have to be the most articulate person, but damn it, have common sense, folks. Have common sense. It's ridiculous. Anyway, 516 area code, you're on the air.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
I think that Smokey guy's got some good points. I'm 20 years old. I just graduated high school 2 years ago, and you learn absolutely shit in high school. Half the shit you learn in high school does not pertain to real life in any way or form. They don't tell you that you're blinded by lies. They don't tell you any of the shit. The teachers sit back, they turn on the television, they show you a tape, they show you some bullshit, and they sit there and browse the internet the whole time.
Well, of course. That's why I've always advocated we need to privatize education. We need to get all these bureaucrats that that principals nowadays make on average what, 250,000 a year? Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous.
I have a grandpa. He told me all about banking, principles of saving money. Forming CDs. Half these kids are born with their money away. I mean, the youth of the country is going down the tubes. I mean, you could really see it.
Of course it's going down the tubes. It's because of public education, sir. And let me tell you why public education is corrupting our youth. You've got a bunch of people that are liberals and feminists that have infiltrated this public education apparatus, which is government funded, and they have utilized the heartstrings of America to continue funding this communist apparatus called public education. And I think that what we need to understand is that public education, nobody is overseeing the fact whether or not these kids are actually getting educated. I mean, there is no incentive.
They don't get educated.
That's what I'm saying. They don't get educated, so why don't we just privatize it? Instead of throwing all this tax money at it, instead of giving teachers $50,000, $60,000 a year to become basically babysitters, because they're not teaching. I mean, what they're teaching right now is how to take a multiple choice test, and that doesn't spawn any type of critical thinking. So, I mean, why don't we just privatize it, get all these bureaucrats that have been milking the government teat for I don't know how long, and get them out there into the private sector so they have to prove their educational credentials instead of, they have no incentive on whether the machinery of public education works right or not. They don't care. Nobody's going to fire them. They're bureaucrats.
Yeah, they're garbage. I mean, my girlfriend goes to college. She came home with an essay. I wrote the essay, never reading the book it was on, and got a 90. Who's grading that fucking paper? I mean, come on, these teachers are jokes.
Yeah, of course they're a joke, sir. And let me tell you, I'm just as upset as you are. I've had this debate several times with folks. And, I have these teachers that call in, and they try to pull the heartstrings. They're like, oh, us teachers need more money. Us teachers are underfunded. We're paying for our own school supplies. That is the biggest logical fallacy on the face of the planet. These teachers are getting way overpaid because it's coming out of my pocket and your pocket. They're not teaching our children worth anything. The average high schooler comes out just half-witted, for Christ's sake. It looks like they get them dumber. I mean, you got this political correctness garbage bombarding our education system. You can't even have elementary school kids. You can't even have elementary school kids play dodgeball, play tag, because the feminists and the liberals that have basically infiltrated public education won't let them. They won't let them. And it's just absolutely disgusting. And this is why, I mean, everybody on Blog Talk Radio, everyone all over the internet, on blogs everywhere, they're talking about Super Tuesday. Oh, yay! My candidate's McCain, the most liberal piece of crap that separated the Republican Party. Yay! Hey, my candidate's Huckabee, which is a tool being utilized by the social liberals that hijacked the Republican Party. Yay! I'm for the Mormon. Yay! Ridiculous. I just dedicated this show to save the American family. That's what we need to do. We need to understand that liberalism is dangerous. It's very dangerous. And the social conservatives need to come together, all right? Don't be hypnotized by the Republican propaganda, because let me tell you, they are feeding all kinds of propaganda. I mean, just look at the way McCain's campaigning, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's the same methods of agitation that the communists use, that the people on the left use. And that's because I think that, McCain is a liberal. He's a liberal. I mean, he's done more to divide this Republican Party than any liberal could ever dreamed of. And you've got Republicans that are going against their own social conservative principles. They're going against their own principles to vote for this guy because he's supposedly most electable. Are you kidding me? This is why I'm telling you, folks, if you're a social conservative, just take care of your family on voting day. Don't even vote for these people. You need to vote at your local level, your state level, the Senate, the Congress. This is where we need to go. We need to go out at a grassroots level and make sure that the people that we send to these offices are social conservatives. These aren't closet cases. These aren't John McCain's. These aren't, social liberals in conservative clothing. We need to take back power. Because if we don't, we're only going to see what I stated in this program previous. We're going to see more government. We're going to see more bureaucracy. We're going to see more government programs, entitlement programs. We're going to see more of it. If you vote Democrat, you're going to see borderline communism. If you vote Republican now, you're going to see borderline socialism. And that's all there is to it. So that's why I'm not voting for anybody. And let me tell you something, if you're a social conservative, don't vote for anybody either. And if you hear somebody that's trying to call themselves conservative voting or trying to endorse John McCain, they're not conservative. And you know what, folks? If you're a true conservative and you see these imbeciles trying to call themselves conservative, supporting any of these social liberals on the right, tell them to take the damn conservative out of their name, because they're not conservative. They're liberals. They know it, and I know it. And this is going to be the destruction of our country, folks, in my view. In my view. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take another call. If you want to call in, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Area code 212. You're on the air.
Hello, Ghost. This is Zanton.
How you doing, Zanton?
Pretty good. I just want to say I enjoy your show. You have a lot of energy. You have a lot of anger. But I guess I would sort of make a small point, which I've already made to you, which is I can't really understand why you're promoting social conservatism. I don't even know what that is in the first place. But you seem to really damn the Republicans. Can't you really understand that conservatism is hopeless and the Republicans are hopeless, and we need to get back to the ideology of the Founding Fathers?
Well, I mean, the Founding Fathers is, what we're trying to perpetuate as far as the conservatives are concerned. I mean, look, we're not for legislating any type of morality or anything of that nature, but we're getting to a point now where what brought, you see, and you're talking about the Founding Fathers all had families, and that's what kept them fighting. That's what, turned them against the crown. That's what kept them going. That's what kept everybody who fought in the Revolutionary War going, was the family. And if we don't have families, what are people going to fight for? What are people going to work for? They're not working now. You can see it. Just take a look at that fellow that called up previous. He's talking about, hey, the weed man doesn't take this and that. This is what we're perpetuating here, an entitlement society.
Well, but no, it's not entitlement to legalize marijuana and live your life as you wish. I still think that you're really focusing on the family in a way which I think doesn't make any sense, because the fundamental unit of society is the individual. If you protect the individual, you protect everybody, and you protect them in whatever forms of groups they want to form. If they want to form groups of 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever, and you allow them to come together and break apart as they wish, based completely on voluntary association, which is also part of the Founding Fathers' belief system. So I think your focus on the family is a serious intellectual mistake. But
absolutely not. That's what kept things going. Look at the social landscape of all empires that have fell in history. If you look at the social landscape of Rome before it fell, it looks a lot like what you're seeing now. And same with the Greeks. There's a systematic destruction of the family that's going on in America, and that's only a liberal method to suppress us. To suppress us into becoming a entitlement generation and entitlement society. We are ushering in my view, with both on the Democrats and the Republican side now, we are ushering in some sort of either socialism or borderline communism.
Well, okay, maybe we just have to agree to disagree on that family stuff, although I still think that America was the most individualist society in the history of man. And simultaneous to that, we were also the society that had the most voluntary organizations in the 1700s and 1800s. We had the most social cooperation and the most individualism. Those two go together in an extremely healthy way.
You're not taking into consideration the evolution of industry either. At that time, 98% of industry was agricultural. And that's why you had a lot more tight-knit organizations as far as people coming together and that sort of thing. They just wanted to continue doing business and not being taxed by the crown. I mean, and you see, we've evolved. We've got, the Industrial Revolution, which, I mean, of course, if you read about that particular time, kind of put the ball rolling in a new direction. And then you talk about the digital age. I mean, we're coming into a new social divide, and I think that if we, as American folks, and this is where you and I disagree, I agree that everybody has their own individual right to do what they want. But, I mean, we're skewing that particular ideology into believing that it's okay just to go ahead and be a heathen or a Neanderthal.
Well, one final point then. I think that maybe you're not aware of this, but to a very significant extent, you really don't promote individual rights. You're opposed to it because people have a right to live as they wish. All these vice laws, all these victimless crime laws are nonsense. They're attacks on natural law, which is the governing law of the whole world, and they're attacks on human freedom. If you prevent an individual from living his life as you wish, then you're a tyrant. I mean, victimless crime laws are a kind of nonsense. You can't have a crime unless you actually have some sort of attack on a person or property. If there's no victim, then there's no crime. So you're opposed to drug freedom and freedom of abortion and freedom of gambling and freedom of pornography and freedom of prostitution. I'm sorry to say it because you seem like a good person, but that's fascism. You're an advocate of fascism.
Absolutely not. I mean, first of all, if we allowed all that to happen, we would have perpetuated this social ill that we're seeing in modern-day society. And you're taking free will out of context. You're still thinking that we're living in the Enlightenment period, and you're talking, regurgitations out of John Locke's Second Treatise of Government. That sociality is not like that anymore. I mean, there are other mediums of propaganda, and it's being fed to people, and you see, people aren't making their own decisions. It's the power of suggestion that's making the decisions for folks, and you have an apparatus like public education and other social-funded government institutions that are perpetuating this entitlement program via media, via other forms of powers of suggestion. I mean, that's all there is to it.
You're speaking out against the individual, and you're saying that someone somehow is hurting the individual, whether it's the media or big business or the Industrial Revolution. But I think that's, I'm sorry to say, I think that's flat out not true. One way or another, Ghost, even though you may not realize it, you are an advocate of Big Brother. You're an advocate of the nanny state. You're going to help us all out because we poor individuals can't think and can't live our lives. You're going to help us all out with Big Brother and the nanny state, and you're going to forbid us from deciding on drugs and prostitution and gambling.
Well, first of all, I've had discussions about legalizing drugs. I mean, I've gone against certain conservatives on that, and that's just based on the fact that we've got 80% of people in jail with drug-related offenses. I think we need to put child molesters and
no, it's
people...
more like 20%. It's more like 20%. It's like maybe the majority of all arrests are based upon drugs, but their sentences are relatively short, so it's maybe like 20%. But anyway, who cares? I don't care. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm just suggesting that, if we allowed people to do that, we'd have a society of zombies. I mean...
Well, okay, all right, I made my point, but the point is, one way or the other, you do not trust the individual, and you do not understand the importance of the individual and his individual freedom and his individual responsibility. He can live his life very, very well. He doesn't need... No offense, he doesn't need your help. He doesn't need the help of the Big Brother or the nanny state. So anyway,
okay.
It's great. It's nice talking to you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Xanton. Well, Xanton, I mean, I've had many debates with this man. He's kind of a classical liberal, straight out of John Locke's Second Treatise of Government, and that's exactly what he's regurgitating there. But what he doesn't understand is that John Locke was a part of the nobility. I mean, John Locke... he basically, and you see, this is what I'm trying to get you to understand, Xanton, is that this man was encouraging the nobility's monopolization of all property, and it's right to do so. I mean, I've read the Second Treatise of Government many times, and to be honest with you, that's why the Founding Fathers didn't utilize John Locke's theory as the base of our democracy. They only utilized his version of the social contract theory to construct our current United States Constitution. That's why when they constructed our republic, because we're living in a democracy, but the apparatus that makes our system run is a republic. That's why the social contract was based on the separation of powers that was written by the philosopher Montesquieu. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm Big Brother. I mean, I'm not trying to advocate anything. All I'm suggesting is that the social ills have become the social norms. You have a big prevalence of single-parent families. You've got females just having children, 5, 6 at a time, 5 or 6 different fathers, and these are females before the age of 30 to 35 that are doing this. I mean, you have a government that's perpetuating this activity, and I stated this earlier in the show, that females that are out here just, shitting out kids by the numbers are going to get $1,500 to $2,000 a kid in their tax return. So we have a government that's perpetuating this activity. Now, why don't you take a guess on how much the American family's getting? It's nowhere near what the old woman who's, becoming the baby factory is what she's getting. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And all I'm suggesting is that we need to put more emphasis on the American family. And I stated at the beginning of this show that everybody who wanted to listen to me on Sunday, I didn't get to do a show on Sunday because, everybody probably was participating in an event that was related to the Super Bowl, and I was sitting there having a good time with my family. And that's what life's about. I know what Xanton's trying to say, hey, the individual right, this and that. I think you're interpreting that a little bit too seriously. Because it was John Locke who stated this for the nobility. He got it, this was during the Enlightenment period. All those youth of nobility were writing this at the time. Rousseau wrote something similar to John Locke. I mean, there was a bunch of, Immanuel Kant wrote some there was a whole bunch of people that came out of the Enlightenment era. And all these people had no idea what the average American person, the average person, I should say, at that time was going through. They were utilizing political theory to get their agenda across. And Xanton, I'm glad you called on the show. You have read the Second Treatise of Government, so it's not that you don't know what you're talking about. It's just the way you're interpreting it is just a little wild, so to speak. That's why the forefathers didn't just fully submit to John Locke's theory of the social contract. That's why it doesn't say life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. That's what it says in John Locke's Second Treatise of Government. It says in our credo, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because that's all we want. And this goes back to the family again. I think that we need to put emphasis on family because it's what's family. Family is what kept this country together. And we're talking about the forefathers. Why were the forefathers fighting? They had families, that's why. They wanted to protect their families. They wanted to go out and say, hey, look, I'm going to continue fighting. I'm up against one of the biggest imperial monarchies of all time, but we're going to fight. We're going to fight for what we think is right, and we're going to do it and defend our family, defend our home, defend our freedom. It was the family. I said this on Ozone's show, and Ozone has a show. I just wanted to plug his show. He's a great American, by the way. Political Intervention. I think he had a show yesterday, and I never use Karl Marx because Karl Marx is a piece of egotistical trash, and that's why he died miserable and broke. But I mean, Marx did have an essence of intellectualism. I mean, he was part of the bourgeoisie system that he criticized so much. But what I appreciate about Marx is that he utilized tribal relations as proof of the true essence of humanity. And, Marx talks a lot about, culture and family, that sort of thing. But what he had wrong is that he was an egomaniac. I mean, he wanted to make sure that he went down as a god, the god of communism, the god of a religious, social, secular, political theology, or theory, excuse me. And I'd like to take a look back at those tribes that Marx talked about in there. Because it was about family, folks. As a matter of fact, I stated this on my Saturday show that if you want to take a good look at tribal relations, take a look at Apocalypto by Mel Gibson. Probably one of the greatest films I've ever seen of that time period. I mean, because you only read about this, as a historical junkie as I am, you only read about tribes and what they participated in, you know, how their technology developed, that sort of thing. But this actually gives you a visual idea of what happened. And I don't want to give away the story, but, you know, the tribes that basically, you know, were family-based, they were all family-based. They all had a small community of a whole bunch of families that gathered in a certain forestry, and everybody that surrounded them were also families that hunted, and because it was all about survival, folks. That's the whole primal instinct of humanity, is survival. But what kept it together? Well, even the tribes, you know, these were tribes that weren't exposed to European technology. They weren't industrious people. They just, well, what did they focus on? This is the true essence of humanity. They focused on family. They'd do anything for their family. They'd go out and try to kill big, humongous wild animals to feed their family. And this is what I think the true essence of humanity is family. That's why I want to save the American family. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But you know what happened when they started making these empires? The Mayan Empire, the Aztec Empire. They started ruining the Indian family. They started ruining these people. And I think that Apocalypto shows a perfect example of that. And I strongly suggest everybody who's listening to watch that movie. It's an unbelievable movie. But this just goes to show you that these empires started gobbling up these tribal families. They'd gather them up. They'd sell them as slaves. They'd break them apart. I mean, and at the same time, you know, these tribal empires, they would, you know, cut hearts out of people. And, I mean, they did all this savagery. I mean, this real borderline sadist, ridiculous, psychopathic, you know, I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. But family wasn't an emphasis in these empires. It wasn't. It was slavery. It was forcing people to work for nothing. It was going out and selling people. You know, it was just about something completely different than family. And what happened to the Aztec Empire? What happened to the Mayan Empire when they broke away families, discouraged families, participated in deviant activity? What happened to these empires? They fell! You want to know why they fell? Because the people that were a part of their empire, whether it was willingly or unwillingly, they didn't want to fight for that piece of crap empire. Because they didn't have a reason to fight. They didn't have a reason to fight. The family gives everybody the reason to fight, the reason to work, the reason to live. That's what the American family does. That's what the family does, not the American family, the family. And I encourage everybody to promote the American family. Please. Talk to your children about family values. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to everybody out there about family values, because if we don't, our country's finished. We're going to be just like the Mayan Empire. We're just going to be just like the Romans, the Greeks. We're going to be just like all these empires that fell because they fell victim to their own deviant activity. You know, and when it comes down to it, these people had no reason to fight. You know, I mean, this is what I'm saying. They have no reason to work. I mean, why do you think the liberals don't want the American family to be promoted anymore? Because they don't want people to work. These liberals want you to be dependent on the government for everything, so that gives them more power. The bureaucrats. And that's why I'm here on Super Tuesday. I'm not talking about these ridiculous, idiotic, power-hungry, autocrat candidates that are both pushing for liberalism either way. If you take a look at the left, you're going to get communism. You take a look at the right nowadays, you're going to get socialism. It's ridiculous. And that's why this show used to be called True Conservative Republican Radio, but I've taken the Republican out of my name. I've taken the Republican out of my name because why do I even need it in my name anymore? What for? The Republican Party has abandoned me. So instead, I'm just trying to promote conservative principles. You know, a lot of these bloggers out here, like I stated previous, a lot of these bloggers, they take themselves so seriously, you know. Oh, yeah, go visit my blog, you know, because my word is so great. And, oh, yeah, I'm traveling with this candidate and I'm blogging over here. Oh, and they're trying to make a living off of just sitting on their fat asses. I'm not doing that, folks. I'm just up here trying to spawn debate on subject matters. And subject matters that should be important to everyone. Family, racial equality, not participating in murder, which is abortion, the purest form of murder. Going against the feminist movement, especially, and liberalism. Anyway, folks, 646-652-4869. Give me a call right now. We're just talking. We're talking about anything, to be honest with you. Anything but these Republicans that are social liberals that are running for president, i.e. John McCain, i.e. Huckabee. He's trying to disguise himself as a social conservative, but I find it rather funny that this social conservative, or so-called social conservative, can basically endorse a blatant, unapologetic social liberal like John McCain. And as a matter of fact, when Huckabee won this West Virginia caucus here earlier this afternoon, it is stated that, him and McCain struck a deal just so that Romney couldn't get those delegates. And this is liberal tactics, in my view. But, they did it. They supposedly, this is the alleged incident. Allegedly what happened, McCain said, look, I'll go ahead and give all my caucus goers to you just so you can beat Romney, and they made the deal. And this is supposed to be a social conservative, old Mike Huckleberry. He's supposed to, Huckleberry Finn over here, he's supposed to be the social conservative. He's making social conservatives look like a bunch of idiots. Really. He really is. I mean, trying to change the Constitution into something that's like the Bible, that makes all social conservatives look like a bunch of idiots. And that's exactly what the social liberals that have hijacked the Republican Party wanted. That's exactly what they wanted. Anyway, folks, give me a call. There's still about a little over 20 minutes left in the program. It's been a great show. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Give me a call. And, politics with a twist just suggested. The only thing I like about Huckabee is the fair tax. Well, fair tax sounds great. But I think that's a prelude to tax more. What are we going to end up, like Canada? I mean, putting a fair tax on products is only going to raise the price of products. Not because of the tax, because these, these business people, they're just going to raise it up and say that, well, something happened, this and that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Well, we have to agree to disagree on that. I think that I do think we need to wipe out the IRS. I think the IRS is an absolute joke. And if it's a sales fair tax, I mean, I just didn't like the way he responded to it and tried to suggest to it. Trying to relate to it. He's trying to convey what this was. I didn't like how he was talking about it. I mean, in one of the debates, he kind of sounded like he was stumbling over his own tongue, like Al Gore trying to talk about how he invented the internet, It's ridiculous. But I think that what we need to do to help this economy, first and foremost, and the only person that has even alluded to this was Mitt Romney. But like I suggested, I just can't vote for Romney, folks. I just can't do it. I mean, he's talked out both sides of his mouth when it comes to Roe v. Wade. And at the same time, I mean, he's a Mormon. And like I said in my previous show, if you're a Mormon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I know that maybe that's a belief system that you believe in, you're proud of, and that's your right to do so. This is America, freedom of religion. But I just can't do it, man. I mean, I've done some research on Mormonism, and it's a very weird theology. I just can't do it. I mean, I like Romney. He looks great on paper. I mean, he looks Reagan-esque, and I said this in the last show. He looks good on paper. But he talked out both sides of his mouth when it came to Roe v. Wade. And that's just something I can't forget. I mean, all these people that are for abortion out here, all of them, all these people, even just by thinking that they're for abortion, they're accepting murder. That's what they are. They're willing murderers. That's what they are. You know, Ozone said on his show a while back, and I'm only going to give him the quote on this because I've said this a couple of times, but I got it actually from Ozone, which is a great quote. He said that, you know, abortion is the purest form of murder. And the way he put this was, look, if I die tomorrow, I mean, I'm not being killed for a life not lived, because I've lived my life. I've lived my life. Or, you know, I mean, I'm being killed for life not lived. For instance, I'm not going to say my age on here, but I've lived for a good long time. And if I get killed, I'm just kind of taking away the time that I would have had left. And who the hell knows how long that would have been. I mean, you know, life's a risk. I mean, things happen. If it's your time to go, it's your time to go, that sort of thing. But abortion, there's no such thing as when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. No. It's the purest form of murder. It's the fucking purest form of murder. I'm sorry for cursing, folks, but, I mean, abortion brings the worst out of me. It's the purest form of murder. You're killing something before it even has a chance to live a day, a second, to experience. I mean, even if a kid is, I mean, and I hate to see children that are taken away before their time, but you can at least say they had the opportunity to experience time. And this is why I think that Romney, him talking both sides of his mouth when it came to that issue, he lost me. And I'm a true conservative. And I'm sorry, Romney. I mean, you look good with that in the Mormonism. But I'm sorry, Romney. I just can't go against my principles. I'm a man that means what he says what he means. I'm not a robot. I'm not like these Republicans out here that are just going to bow down just because, he's more electable, he's this, he's that. No. You're either going to abide by my principles or you're not going to get my damn vote. I'm not going to vote for you just because the party tells me to. What are you, a sheep? I'm not going to do it. It's ridiculous. In politics with a twist, you're saying I'm an idiot because I won't vote for the man because of his religion. Look, I stated in the previous show that I would have overlooked it. But he's talked out both sides of his mouth when it comes to this Roe v. Wade issue. And that's something that keeps conservatives tight-knitched. I mean, that's something that you just can't compromise. And if you compromise it, then you're no better than a liberal. Because these liberals, radical liberalism, like communism, killed more people than anyone I could ever imagine. I mean, you got Stalin, Mr. Ultra-left-winger over here. Killed about, 100 million people. Ultra-left-wing communist leader, Mao Zedong, 60 million people killed. I mean, are you kidding me? That's what abortion is right there. It's communism, eugenics. I mean, the creator of Planned Parenthood, from what I understand, she believed in eugenics. And that's not something we need to start fooling around with, folks, killing people because they're too poor or they're ugly or we don't even need to go down that road. We don't even need to go down that road. You know, we don't need to go down that road. Sad. It's really sad. And hey, Fred, you know something? I'm assuming you're an African American because you just made a couple of quotes relating to African Americans. Hey, I've had shows, man. The African American has gotten the shaft for so long, and I just wish there were more intellectual African Americans that could relay to the remaining and overwhelming majority of the African Americans that these Democrats don't have their interest at hand. I mean, they don't. They absolutely do not have their best interests at hand at all. As a matter of fact, the Democrats were the ones that started the Ku Klux Klan. And I like it. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you brought up Alan Keyes, Fred. I liked Alan Keyes. As a matter of fact, he was kind of running in this election, but nobody took him serious. I like Alan Keyes. I think he's a great American. I mean, he stands for true conservative principles. He's a great guy. You know, it's just unfortunate that more people, you know, can't catch wind of his message because I've stated this previous, Republicans have isolated social conservatives. They've just isolated them, and that's why the Republican Party has left me personally. And if you're a conservative out there, folks, you should be just as upset as I am. You should be burning mad, for Christ's sake. You should be breaking stuff. I mean, you should hear me on my previous shows, folks, and we have shows in the archives, folks. So if you're ever up one night, you're bored, go to blogtalkradio.com/ghost. Check out some of the archives. I go buck wild all the time. And let me tell you why. It's not because I'm out here trying to make, hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Blogger out here. Come look at my blog. You know, I'm the man. I'm Ed Morrissey. I'm a big bad man, and you know, look at me. I'm getting candidates interviewed. I don't give a crap about that. I don't care. All I want is people to listen to the show and spawn debate. You know, they start thinking a little bit. They don't have to agree with everything I say. I mean, this is America. You have the freedom of thought out here. But if I resonate just a little bit with you, I just want you to take that with you and perpetuate that, whatever I say. I'm not telling you to agree with everything I say. It's ridiculous. But if you find little grains of things that make you think, that's all I want. Because people have stopped thinking out here. People have stopped thinking. And that's why, I mean, we need to save this country, folks. We need to save this country because I guarantee you, if you go out and vote for any of these people, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get more government bureaucracy. You're going to get more of the same. We need a conservative movement out here. We need politicians that are going to perpetuate conservative values, that are going to be good staples for the American people. You know, a big part of this downturn had a lot to do with old Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, turning the Oval Office into the Oral Office. That's basically what it is. He utilized the White House to basically have his choosing with portly white or young interns. That's what he wanted. Yeah, let me go ahead. Let me look outside here. Oh, yeah, there's an intern. Come over here, baby. I mean, that's what he was doing. It's no wonder why Bin Laden hit us up. It's no wonder why Bin Laden hit us up. Bill Clinton was too busy eating pizza and having oral copulation with a portly intern. Yeah, jeez. Oh, God. Anyway, look, folks, I know that sometimes I may go off the wazoo on certain things. There's a lot of conservatives that believe in everything I say, and I thank you. I appreciate it. But there are a lot of people that agree with certain things I say and hate other things I say. I don't care. I just want you to take what I say and just perpetuate it. Talk to somebody else about it. Talk to somebody else about it. Because if we don't, we're going to see the dissolution of the American family. We're already seeing it right before our eyes. I mean, it's a 50-50 shot, and it's going lower by the day. if you get married, it's a 50-50 shot that you'll even still be married in about 3 years. You know? It's ridiculous. Thank you very much, Philly. But we need to save this family, and I mean, sometimes, you know, I have so much fury, you know. Sometimes I have so much passion for things, but then, you know, I take that breath, you know, just... And then when you sigh, all these feelings of optimism wither away, and pessimism injects itself into your psyche, your heart. And it's hard, man. It's hard to keep going. I mean, anybody who listens to my show knows that there's not that many people who appreciate what I'm saying out here. And it's not like I'm saying anything outlandish. I've gone on shows where, I mean, they've suggested that the government had something to do with 9/11. I mean, all I'm asking is let's save the American family, folks. And let me tell you something, folks. I'm building websites right now. I'm building. I've got all kinds of people working on some stuff. I'm taking this serious, and I don't care if it costs me money. I'm taking this serious. We need people to listen. That the conservative movement is still alive. And I would appreciate you folks, if you have MySpace, please add me on your MySpace, myspace.com/ghostpolitics. All one word. All one word. I mean, and I just want you to add me to your friends list, and if you could, give one of those bulletins. I'm sorry, I'm new to MySpace, so it's not like I've been there forever. But, put me on one of those bulletins and tell people to add me. And whether they hate me or like me, it doesn't matter. I want them to start talking about some of the subject matters I talk about on here. Nobody wants to talk about it anymore. Nobody wants to talk about it. And like I said, folks, I mean, you don't have to agree with everything I say. You don't. This is America. I just want you to think, man. Just think. Break out of this bubble that this media, and let me tell you something, don't look to the mainstream media for your news. Don't, man. Go to the internet. The internet has 1 million libraries, or more, billion libraries, at your fingertips. You've got the world of knowledge at your fingertips. But what are people doing with the internet? Downloading pornography, participating in deviant activity, congregation of child molesters. I mean, and before we run out of time, I wanted to make one comment about this child molestation epidemic that we're having here. Chris Hansen from Dateline, great American. A great American. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing. We need more of this stuff. I mean, people are utilizing the internet to prey on children, folks. And that's reprehensible. I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, these guys need to be thrown in jail. I mean, 20 years. Anybody who molests a child needs to be thrown in prison for a long time. For a long time. And have some sort of sign on them in prison that says, I'm a child molester. That's what they need. They need to be about 20 years in prison with a sign on them that said, I just molested a child. What do you think of me now? And that'll make child molesters, think twice before they ruin the innocence of a child. As a matter of fact, in my personal opinion, if you sexually molest a child, you deserve to die. That's right. I think you deserve death. How you can ruin the innocence of a child is it's repulsing. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think that if you, and let me tell you something, I know there's a lot of folks on the internet, and I've been watching this ridiculous Dateline with Chris Hansen, with child predators and all this stuff. Most of these folks are regular, everyday citizens. They've got families and that sort of thing. And if you're someone that happens to listen to this show that's thinking about doing or participating in activities like this, you better stop yourself, you piece of crap. You better stop yourself. I mean, I think there should be people that pose as younger children on the internet. Find these people that want to molest children. Make it apparent. Make it apparent. Make sure that they want somebody 12, 11, 13. Make sure, and then meet them and then beat the living bejesus out of them. Leave them in a puddle of their own blood and piss. Anyway, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm going off my rocker. But I just think that children, we need to save the absolute perversion of our children as well, folks. We got to save it. I mean, we just have to. I mean, they're being exposed to all kinds of ridiculous nonsense on television, and even if you do put them on the supposed kid networks, what do you have out here? I mean, there's a show. I don't know if I can even talk about this show now. I got emailed by the Britney Spears sister show that I better stop talking about it. But you've got shows out here for children, okay? Disney's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's a show called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Now it's about twin brothers, okay? It's a little cute little show. You know, I mean, there's nothing bad about it at first. But then you look at the surroundings of everything. Take a look at the fact that these twins belong to a single mother that's living in a hotel because she's a lounge act singer. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this is what you're perpetuating to our children? It's sick, man. I mean, it makes you want to throw up, man. Nasty chicken grease and corn oil, cream of wheat, 5-day-old cereal and stomach I mean, just disgusting garbage, because I can't believe that this is what this world is coming to. Anyway, folks, we need to save the American family, first and foremost. That's all there is to it. Please, you know, do what you can. I'd appreciate, folks, if you can help me out here. Spread the word and say we want to save the American family. That's all there is to it. We want to save the American family. I'd appreciate it. I mean, I'm just getting on MySpace and all these social networks. I'd appreciate if you add me. I'd appreciate if you post some bulletins for me. Do whatever it takes, because I don't care if people like me or hate me. I just want people to listen. I want people to remember that the American family is still alive. We need to fight for it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Anyway, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is an impromptu show. It's Super Tuesday. I got sick of hearing everybody talk about these ridiculous primaries and caucuses that are coming in. It's stupid. It's social liberalism. Either way you look at it, if you're a conservative, don't even vote, in my opinion. You know? I don't even vote, in my view. But all I'm saying is, spread the word, folks. Spread the word about the American family. We need to preserve it. It's a sacred tradition. It shouldn't be shunned away. It shouldn't be put in the closet. We shouldn't perpetuate deviant activity. And I thank all of you for tuning in. Whether you like me, whether you hate me, I appreciate you listening. And hopefully, I know we're not going to change each other's minds, but hopefully we can have civil discourse like this and be able to see each other's perspectives so we can come to a common ground. Anyway, folks, I thank you once again for tuning in with me. I got 1 minute left on the show. Please, like I suggested, man, put me on your MySpaces. Try to spread the word out here. I have great numbers as it is, but I'm really serious about this. I'm not here trying to go for any political party anymore. I'm just trying to save the American family. I'm trying to instill moral ethos back in society. That's all I want. I'm not out here like these supposed bloggers that are trying to make a living off this crap. I'm not trying to make a living off it. I just want to stimulate debate, perpetuate thought processes, and that sort of thing. Get back to me at myspace.com/ghostpolitics. You can also get back to me and bookmark blogtalkradio.com/ghost. And, of course, I've submitted to the blogosphere. I'm sorry. You can get back to the blog. Conservative Ghost, all one word, no underscore. conservativeghost.blogspot.com. Get back to me either way, folks. I'm on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 9 p.m. Central Time. Make sure to tune in with me at that time. Have a libation. You know, get yourself a Vice, order a pizza, do whatever it takes, drink a beer. Come back. We're going to talk about conservative values, saving the American family, and I thank you all for tuning in. Long live the conservative movement, and death to liberalism, and death to feminism.